Skip has said that Trey Lance will be the best quarterback out of this rookie class, and now the signal caller may get a chance to prove it. Lance replaced an injured Jimmy Garoppolo at halftime of the 49ers' loss to the Seahawks yesterday, throwing 2 touchdown passes and rushing for 41 yards. Shannon, I start with you. From what you've seen so far, which rookie QB will have the best career?
Skip, me personally, I believe every one of these rookie quarterbacks would have benefited by having an opportunity to sit on the bench for at least a year and learn. Now, 2 guys had mechanisms put in place, Andy Dalton and Trey Lance, that this was going to be possible. Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson, they removed those mechanisms and said, you're going to be starters from day one.
Yep.
But the mechanisms in Chicago, the mechanism in the 49ers got injured. So now these young guys...
The best mechanism was Jimmy G.
Jimmy G.
Yeah. Who had been very successful.
Who had been very successful. Had taken the team to a Super Bowl and was playing pretty well this year, Skip. So now he's thrust into the light. I'm going to trust... I'm going to say, look, I thought Trey Lance, I thought Mac Jones was best ready to play right now. But I'm going to trust Kyle Shanahan and his ability to call plays and put his quarterback in the best possible situation. I'm going to say Trey Lance, because they're going to get these running backs back. They're going to be able to run the football. Now, I think what Kyle is going to do is that he'll do a lot more boots, a lot more diagram quarterback runs, because he has a quarterback that has the athleticism to do those and to make those kind of plays, make those kind of throws off that kind of action. So for me, I'm going to say Trey Lance, because I trust Kyle Shanahan and his calling of plays. I saw what he did with C.J. Beathard. I saw what he did with Nick Mullins. I saw what he did with some lesser-tier quarterbacks and get them to produce 300-yard passing games. And they're not nearly as talented as Trey Lance is. So I'm going to say Trey Lance, because I just don't know the pieces around Jimmy G, the pieces around Trevor Lawrence, and although Zach Wilson made some throws yesterday, Skip,
he did.
You can see why they fell in love with him, because he made throws I haven't seen a whole lot of rookie quarterbacks make in a very, very long time.
Week 4 was very good for these high-pick rookie quarterbacks. Yeah. Even Thursday night, Trevor Lawrence had his moments. I can see it. But yesterday, I saw Zach Wilson. He was great late against the Titans.
He was.
And Justin Fields is a playmaker, and he made enough plays, and he lifted the whole mood and tone and spirit of that team. So I'm happy for him. I'm all about Trey Lance. And in his brief stints, he has looked the least comfortable because he's played the least amount of football.
Right.
Remember, they played 1 game in COVID last year. 1 game.
Right.
And the year before, he was sensational, but it was for North Dakota State.
Right.
I'm just eye-testing, saying, I'll take that guy.
Right.
6'4", 225, and he can flat-out move. I was just watching the video we were showing. He can just move. It's just like, he can shimmy shake you. He can run over you. He can run around you. He's got extreme mobility. And he has got a bazooka arm. And he did have a 76-yarder to Debo, and it was complete busted coverage. And so Debo just sat down and just said, I'm wide open, and he just threw it to him. So there was no leading or no rainbow to it. He just threw it to him. But the point, look at that run. Whew, here's the pass to Debo. But he just said, oh, you're over there. So, again, I'm not giving that high marks, but he did it. And
well, he didn't overthrow him, because last time you have a guy wide open, you overshoot him.
Look at the movement here. Lord have mercy. The young man can move. He's got high football IQ. He has extreme work ethic. And I do agree, and I think you are seeing the light. If you give that to Kyle Shanahan, all of a sudden the run game becomes indefensible, because if he's part of it, because he went 7 times for 41 yards, and he threw some shaky balls, but he also threw some really good balls. 9 out of 8.
Skip, it's kind of like Lamar. Lamar Jackson is the head of the running game. Yeah, we talk about all these running backs, but it all starts and stops with Lamar Jackson.
It does, because he's so difficult to defend.
Now, I'm not saying this guy's going to be Lamar Jackson, but I'm saying he has an element that you really can't account for. So now he's going to be able to run the football. Kyle is going to be able to do some things that he can't. Jimmy G is athletic, but not like this kid, Skip. You can run, you can have the design runs that get him out on the edge and let him do some damage with those legs. Now, Skip, for me, I agree with you. Yesterday they played well, but you know now there is no turning back. Andy Dalton, there is no turning back.
I mean, you could, but you shouldn't.
No, I know what Andy Dalton is.
Okay, you'll lose your locker room if you go back.
Trey Lance.
Yep.
You was like, okay, we're going to stay with Jimmy G. Okay, now Jimmy G is going to be out for a while unless Trey Lance get injured, because you know what Jimmy G is. Now let's see what we have in Trey Lance, because this is our future. You gave up those 2 draft picks.
I mean, you gave everything. You gave up your next
future.
3 years for Trey Lance.
So I got to see what I got, Skip.
And you went up there, and everybody thought it was for Mac.
Right.
And it was for Trey.
Right.
And I still believe that was the right move.
Right.
Mac is exactly what you saw last night. He can do that. But when it comes to arm strength and escapability, not in the same league, not in the same ballpark.
Skip, it's going to be tough when you have that kind of arm. The lack of arm strength playing in those kind of conditions that you normally see in Foxborough. Skip, it's just the early October. You know, we haven't got the late. We haven't got the November. We haven't got the December. Haven't got the January. When the wind is swirling and you got snow, things that made Tom Brady great playing in those elements. Man, it's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough, but I cannot wait to see what Kyle Shanahan starts to do with Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Because you're going to see Kyle come back out of his shell some, and you're going to see his genius at work.
Yep, I agree.
Guys, question for you. Will Derek Carr keep playing like an MVP against the Chargers tonight?
But he's not winning.
Great matchup.
What?
Whole England last night, but he also broke Drew Brees' all-time passing record early in the first half. TB12 finished with 269 passing yards, but no touchdowns or interceptions as the Bucs won 19-17. Meanwhile, Mac Jones had 275 passing yards with 2 TDs and 1 interception. Shannon, here's the question. Which quarterback had the better game, Brady or Mac Jones?
Mac outplayed Brady yesterday, Skip. Completed 19 straight passes. Even though he was under much more duress than Tom, he got hit 12 times. Brady only got hit 3 times. Brady offensive line did a better job of protecting him and opening up holes for the run game, Skip. If you look at it, the Patriots had -1 yard on 8 carries, and the Bucs were well over 100 yards.
119.
119. So when you get that, and when you look at it, Skip, even without Gronk, Tampa's weapons offensively are better. It's just simple as that. They're just better. If you look at defense, even though they were out a lot, they still don't have 2 backers that's better than Levante David and Devin White. They don't have a defensive line. They don't have a player right now. Judon is better than Shaq Barrett is right now. But then you go Ndamukong Suh, you go Golston, you go Vita Vea.
Run stuffers.
And that's what that's all they want to do, Skip. And they get JPP back. They can make you one-dimensional knowing that you can't run the football. But I thought Mac outplayed Brady last night. Brady had his lowest completion percentage since he's been in Tampa. His 21 incompletions, second most since joining the Bucs. And, Skip, you mentioned that the throw the AB dropped. But there are a lot of throws that Brady was off last night. He missed some throws that were a little high, had AB for a first down, overshot him. He was off slightly. Maybe it was the motion. Maybe it was the inclement weather. Whatever the case may be, we've seen Brady play a lot cleaner games than what he played last night. But given that this was Mac Jones' first foray into big-time football, meaningful football, Sunday night, Tom Brady's coming back. Everybody's been talking about once the schedule came out, everybody talked about this game. They talked about, Tampa and Dallas, they opened the season. No. Let's get to week 4. Because not only is Tom Brady going back, Skip, he's going to break Drew Brees' record. And so Mac Jones had to deal with all that. I thought Mac played him. But in Tom's case, then more times than not, Skip, Tom's kicker came up bigger than Mac Jones' kicker. And sometimes that's what it comes down to. You can play great, but if you get your guy in field goal range and he misses it and the other guy had a little worse ball game than you did and his guy made it, well, that's what it looked like. But player to player, head to head, he outplayed Brady.
I will give you this. Mac Jones played very well last night, but Brady played a little better.
How?
Well, let's look at QBR to start with.
Okay.
Brady had 55, Mac had 46, and I think that's about right, 55 to 46.
That was good.
First of all, let's do degree of difficulty. There was little to no pressure on Mac Jones last night. I told you Friday, nobody thinks he's going to do much of anything in this game.
Skip, they sacked him 4 times.
Okay, but my point is there was no pressure on him, like psychological pressure.
Okay.
Like he goes in and it's just gravy. Whatever he can do, people say, oh, that's really nice. The kid did some good things last night, and he did a lot of good things last night. But let's talk about degree of difficulty on the field. because obviously Brady goes in without his number one security blanket. When in doubt, he throws it to Gronkowski. And you don't think the two of them would want to throw a party on Belichick? So that took a lot away from Tom Brady.
Okay. So
now let's look at what is Brady throwing against? What's his degree of difficulty to me on a scale of 1 to 10? Well, it's a 9 because Belichick's back four, they're really good. They're extremely well coached. They're extremely smart. They're extremely quick. You could make a case I'm going to at least go to top 5 secondary in the league. Is that fair to say?
Okay, I'll give you that. I like J.C. Jackson, but I think McCourty has gotten old. He can't run. He doesn't have the range he once did. I've never been in love with Duggar than the guy on the other side.